Hello, welcome to Constitution Monday with Monday. The 24th Amendment, ratified in 1964, stands as a vital reaffirmation of one of America's most sacred principles, that the right to vote should be free and equal for all citizens. This amendment specifically abolished the poll tax in federal elections, removing a long-standing financial barrier that had been used in several states to discourage or prevent certain groups of people, particularly poor and minority citizens, from voting. From a constitutionalist perspective, the 24th Amendment can be seen as both a continuation of the Founders' belief in representative government and a reminder of how the Republic must guard against infringements on liberty, even when those infringements come from state laws. Historical background. After the Civil War, the Reconstruction Amendments, 13th, 14th, and 15th, sought to secure freedom and voting rights for formerly enslaved Americans. However, by the late 1800s and early 1900s, many states, particularly in the South, introduced poll taxes, literacy tests, and other measures designed to limit voter participation. A poll tax was a fee citizens had to pay before voting. It may sound small, but for many, it was a significant financial burden. These taxes were used to disenfranchise the poor and minority populations, undermining the Republican principle that all citizens have an equal voice in their government. By the mid-20th century, the civil rights movement and renewed public attention to equality led to calls for federal action to end these restrictions. What the amendment says. The text of the 24th Amendment is short and direct. The right of citizens of the United States to vote in any primary or other election for president or vice president, for electors for president or vice president, or for senator or representative in Congress, shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state by reason of failure to pay any poll tax or other tax. In essence, the amendment prohibits both federal and state governments from conditioning the right to vote in federal elections on payment of a tax. It applies directly to elections for president, vice president, and members of Congress. Later, through Supreme Court interpretation, the same principle was extended to state elections under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Constitutional principles at work. 1. Equality before the law. The amendment reinforces that all citizens, regardless of economic status, have equal standing in the political process. It restores a fundamental Republican ideal: representation should depend on citizenship, not wealth or class. 2. Protection against government overreach. From a constitutionalist view, the poll tax represented a form of government intrusion, using economic barriers to limit a natural right. The amendment curtails that overreach, protecting citizens' ability to hold their government accountable through the ballot box. 3. Upholding the spirit of the Republic. In a true constitutional republic, legitimacy comes from the consent of the governed. By eliminating poll taxes, the amendment strengthens the foundation of that consent and reaffirms that liberty belongs to everyone equally. Constitutionalist perspective. A constitutionalist may view the 24th Amendment as a corrective action, one that restored the Founders' vision of free, uncoerced participation in self-government. While it adds to the Constitution, it does so in a way that limits government power rather than expands it. It reminds us that true liberty requires constant vigilance against subtle forms of oppression, even those disguised as simple policies. This amendment also highlights the danger of state governments exceeding their authority in ways that compromise individual rights. Impact on the Republic. The ratification of the 24th Amendment had a profound and lasting impact. Poll taxes were immediately outlawed in federal elections. Subsequent Supreme Court cases, such as Harper v. Virginia Board of Elections, 1966, extended the principle to state elections, ensuring equal access across the nation. The amendment strengthened public trust in the democratic process, demonstrating that the Constitution could evolve to better reflect the principle of equal liberty under law. Why it matters today. Even decades later, the 24th Amendment carries important lessons for modern America. It reminds us that freedom isn't only about speech or property, it's also about participation. It shows that barriers to voting, even indirect or administrative, must be examined carefully in a republic that values self-governance. For constitutionalists, it reinforces that every expansion of liberty should come with restraint on power, ensuring that the system remains balanced and faithful to its founding principles. The 24th Amendment stands as a victory for the principle of equal access to liberty. By removing economic barriers to voting, it reaffirmed that government exists to serve all citizens equally, not to privilege the wealthy or silence the poor. From a constitutional republic's perspective, this amendment doesn't alter the structure of government but protects the foundation of representation itself. It's a powerful reminder that freedom is not self-sustaining, it must be guarded, refined, and preserved through both law and principle. In a nation built on consent of the governed, the right to vote is not just a privilege, it's a duty, and one that must remain free from all forms of coercion or cost. Our system depends not only on who votes, but on maintaining the structure that protects liberty for all. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay free.